Hi guys, I hope you had a wonderful spring break. If you didn't, well, sorry, that kind of sucks for you. But anyway, I hope you arrived nice and refreshed on Monday. And for those of you who missed the week leading up to spring break, this is one of the major things that is kind of hard for you to kind of make up. Last Monday, before spring break, this is what we did. It was a murder investigation. And so here's our background. It looks like a group of investigators finished investigating or looking at a scene of a crime where there was a rather large, hairy arm with a wedding band on it. I know technically it's the wrong arm, it's the right hand instead of the left hand, but don't let that get to you. It's the only bloody arm I could find. So there you go. And it says that it is just an arm, and there's lots of blood everywhere. Near the arm is this wonderful bloody purse. Yes, that's, I guess you can say is real blood. It is type Sharpie. Not type O or A or any of those others. But there was a bloody purse that was sitting next to the arm and two sets of footprints leading away from the scene, one larger than the other. In the purse is all of this stuff. And for the sake of time, I put this in chronological order. It looks like in this purse, this person on July 17th, stopped at a kind of a Jiffy Stop. That's kind of a Quick Mart gas station kind of run. And then there's a slip saying, now I don't know if these next two things are in absolute correct order, but it says it looks like it's 2 days later, depositing, looks like $500,000 into an account. And then we also have a family clothing center where there were a bunch of just clothing bought. Now, the next thing is this wonderful prescription to this woman named Lucinda. Lucinda, we are now assuming, is the owner of the purse. As we kind of go down, we'll kind of draw that conclusion. So, this is Lucinda's prescription. This AZT is for AIDS. It's treatment for AIDS. So it looks like Lucinda has a little bit of a deadly disease. Hooray for her. Next, it looks like she checked in and parked her car. And then it looks like the next thing is this airlines. Okay, so it looks like this is the 22nd, and so is this. So it looks like she is flying out of Montreal, so it looks like that she's from Canada, and she's going to Atlanta. Well, okay, looks like after, because her plane landed at 11:12, and it looks like, okay, this is about 12:48. That same day, and it looks like she made it to Atlanta, and she bought some stuff. Looks like 2 coffees, and cheesecake and ice cream. Well, coffee and dessert for 2. Well, there we go. Also looks like there is a scheduled flight home, also in her purse. Some other things that don't necessarily have dates. She has a Bank of Canada credit card. She's got an electronic, it looks like a hotel key. She's got a business card for a private investigator that is, and that area code of that phone number says that they are from Atlanta. She's got this picture. It is of a man, a little boy, and a dog. Some tissues. A CD that has all of these party pictures on it, and this very interesting note saying, Lucinda, meet me at Jake's Cafe on the 23rd at 8 p.m., and it's very, very important. Well, this is all of the information that we have to go by to determine what exactly happened. Now, there are certain things that we can draw from this. For example, the Jiffy Stop, antacid, aspirin, Band-Aids, stuff like that. That kind of looks like kind of a treatment for a hangover, but who knows? Some of these are necessary treatments for side effects of the medication. Oh, look at the doctor, Dr. Christoph. Oh, that might be Chris here. Who knows? We know that she checked her car, parked her car, and never picked it up. We have evidence that she made it to Atlanta, but we have no evidence of her making it back to Montreal. We know that there's a definite reason why she was in Atlanta, for private eye's sake. And then there's also something very suspicious as well. I don't know about you, but I would not go to a family clothes center, it's kind of like a thrift shop, when I had $500,000 in my bank account. There's no way that I would be doing this kind of number. It looks like it's very suspicious of her having $500,000 and doing like a quick stop and parking, going and getting thrift store clothes. It doesn't say what kind of car she has. So, and it doesn't look like her plane ticket would be very expensive. So, I don't know. It seems very suspicious. Well, there have been a lot of conclusions drawn from the other people in your classes about what exactly happened. A lot of things stemmed from AIDS and that she was sleeping around and cheating on her husband and stuff like that. Which is very possible. However, with the amount of evidence that we have here, it's hard to determine a true conclusion, whether she was framed, set up, whether she was the victim or even the murderer. So this kind of goes with the idea of chemistry that we are about to dive into, that every scientist, and I'll show you our groups of scientists up here in just a minute, but every scientist only had a certain amount of information that they knew to be more or less true. And that kind of defined their experiments and their theories and things along those lines. Now, of course, some of these scientists ended up dying from their discoveries, and I'll explain that in just a few minutes. But based on this information that we have, we can only draw certain conclusions. Now, if I had mentioned to you, like, oh, this arm, because it doesn't say where this arm was found, but if I had said, okay, this arm was found in Atlanta, that might change your story a little bit. If I said that this was actually a picture of Christoph, her doctor, and this Chris guy, that might change your story even more. If I said that that electronic key was a key for Atlanta, or if it was in Montreal, that could change your story again. Again, this relates to the scientists because based on the limited amount of information they had and whether they built off of each other's information, determined how they would change their theories or the other theories that other scientists had said they thought would be true. And we'll see that in the next few weeks as we do more and more experiments. Another thing that the students, all my other students did, is I gave each group a different scientist to research. And with this research, they were going to determine the order in which these scientists made their discoveries. Now, I told them not to list dates or anything like that because I want them to use their kind of knowledge to say, okay, well, I think one would have to come before the other. Now, this is what 7th period said that their order was. So they could be right, they could be wrong. Don't really pay attention to the order, but pay attention to what I am describing, what each of these scientists do or discovered. Okay, so our first one is Democritus. He said that the universe is composed of two elements, and those are not elements like our wonderful periodic table over there, but these are elements like they're two separate things. And he said that it would be the atoms. The universe is composed of atoms and basically nothing, the void in which they exist. Okay? Dalton here, John Dalton, he came up with this atomic theory. All matter is made up of indestructible and indivisible atoms. Well, that kind of supports what Democritus said. It looks like everything's made up of atoms. Atoms of a given element have identical mass and properties. That means that if I were to pick up a gold atom over here in the United States and look at the properties, it would be kind of shiny yellow. It would have a certain weight. And then I went over to the other side of the world and picked up another gold atom. They would be identical. He also said compounds are formed of combinations of different types of atoms. That kind of is self-explanatory. And chemical reactions are rearrangements of those compounds. Okay. Our next guy is J.J. Thomson. He said that there are such things as subatomic particles with a charge. Now, that means that there are protons and electrons. Subatomic, smaller than an atom, so absolutely protons and electrons are smaller, and they have a charge, positive and negative. Chadwick said that he discovered neutrons. Neutrons are the other subatomic particle, but they have no charge. Rutherford said that the atom is mainly made up of a small, heavy nucleus, and then the rest of the atom is mainly empty space. The electron zooming around is just mainly empty space. Niels Bohr said that atoms have these energy levels, and energy levels are, he's talking about the electron zooming around the nucleus, and he said that it was very similar to kind of like our solar system, where the sun would be our small, massive nucleus, and all the other electrons are zooming around in different levels, kind of like the planets zooming around our sun. They only stay in their one path. Okay, Mendeleev, they also pronounce his name Mendeleev. It's not like Gregor Mendel that did the pea plants or anything like that. And Moseley, they rearranged and actually started creating a periodic table. And our last scientist is Madame Curie. She did a lot of discovery with X-rays and radioactivity. And this is an example of our wonderful bloody purse over here. She did not know the entire picture. She did not know radioactivity was dangerous. And she ended up doing so many experiments that with that radioactivity and X-rays that she ended up giving herself cancer and ended up dying of it. So that's your little tidbit of the summary of the week that we did the week before spring break. We did the murder investigation. We discussed our wonderful chemists. The only thing that I cannot show you right now is our physical and chemical changes lab. You will have to make that up Tuesday morning, and you will need to get here pretty early because we had to try and do 12 different experiments in about one class period. So it's going to be really, really quick. I think you'll have to show up at probably closer to 7:30 rather than 7:45. So there you go. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you Monday.